Yes, it's Deja ReReview again. Deja ReReview, rather. I think that's a proper name for it. I can never remember the names for my own series. Isn't that silly? This time I'm taking a look at this battery pack I've got again for my DSLR. And I've got to admit, I am quite happy with it. It's the cheaper version. There's more expensive versions out there, but you know, this cheap version does the trick for me. These buttons, this one still feels like it's not actually doing anything in some regards, but it's given a bit more over time, so it does actually feel like it is doing something now. This on-off button basically controls the power to these settings, because if you don't have it turned on, then none of these will do anything at all. You've basically got duplicate controls for focus and shooting and so on and so forth, and it does feel very comfortable in the hand that way. This section here, if you've noticed, this is where the battery would normally go, or it's a section that corresponds with where the battery would typically go up the camera itself, and then you've got the camera battery door rather mechanism. Just you take that off the camera and put it in there, and it fits quite nicely. This little bit, you know, tightens everything up at the bottom. You've got another screw here to put on things like mounts for tripods and so on. Yeah, and it all works rather well. A little connection to, you know, allow all the different electronics to match up with what's on the computer on board the actual DSLR itself. And then you get the actual battery case. Actually, before we go into the battery case, I'm just going to show you a little bit of damage that this has taken. Yeah, one time when I was taking things apart like this, I dropped it. And this goes to show the cheapness of the plastic in some regards. It's not causing any problems. Okay, although maybe I can cover it with something like some tape or something just to try to, you know, make it a little safer, but yeah, it's not really going to cause much of a problem. This still locks up quite nicely and so on. It's not having any effect on that in any way, shape or form. Yeah, you can see all the different electronics. There's the connection to complete the circuit and so on. Yeah, that all works quite nicely. We come to the batteries themselves now. I've got 4 batteries. 2 are like this. This is the standard canon battery, and there's another one that I bought from somewhere else, I think PC World, that does just as good a job, but it was pricey compared to these, because I think these were 2 for 1, and the one was actually cheaper than one regular battery, and they've worked just as well. You know, they might not look exactly the same in all regards, they're the same dimensions, and they're completely compatible, and that is the main thing. Now there's another version of the tray that makes use of more standard AA batteries. You need at least 3 of them in on each section, so 6 in total. I've never actually used that, so I don't know how well that would work. But there's a slight little problem again with the plastic quality on this. You can see where I've stuck everything up with sticky tape just to sort of hold things together, because the plastic that supports this metal pin here has sort of bust. Just to show you, give you an idea here, the plastic around these sections is rather thin, okay, and perhaps not quite up to standard in some regards, but that's the one problem. It's a botched job, but it's a botched job that's held. You know, and overall I'm still quite happy with everything. You know, I can't complain too much. Just a couple of little niggly bits that have kind of ruined things. It does make it a little more difficult to get the batteries out, of course. It doesn't have any problem with getting the batteries in, and it hasn't had any effect at all on the actual case itself, so yeah. The only other thing I will say against it is that the covering here does look a bit different in tones of colour. The actual pattern display for the grip and whatnot is pretty much identical to what's on my camera. It's just slightly different in colour. That might just be because it's not just meant for one kind of camera. I think it's meant for several different types, but not all types. There's certain cameras where the batteries are put in a sort of 90-degree angle to this, so yeah, obviously somebody somewhere is planning on making more money out of the things, and who can blame them? That's how businesses work. But overall, for what this is, yes, it's cheap, it's not entirely nasty, and it's actually quite good. So yeah, definitely a recommendation.